Nirbhaya's Daughter, the documentary on Nirbhaya's rape and murder case by Leslie Udwin, has stirred up a hornet's nest. One of the convicts, Mukesh Singh, making some atrocious remarks in the documentary, has invited a ban on the screening of this BBC documentary. But the question is banning a film, probably without even being seen by those in power, going to solve anything? Closing our eyes to the stark realities of gore and crime going to be the answer to anything? Is India really being portrayed in poor light? We'll try and analyze in this 1 hour. Welcome to Gender Discourse. I'm Lotty, Alaric. Well, folks, to carry this discussion forward, I have in the studio a distinguished panel of guests. I'm very happy to have with me Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Nanda, who's teaching at the Delhi University and is also a noted activist. So I thank you so much for coming here. Then we are joined by an advocate, Kiran Singh, who is also a social activist with MARG. So welcome to the show. And we have with us the spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Deepika Sharma. I welcome you to Gender Discourse. And last but very important, we have with us Mrs. Kamala Bhasin, who is a feminist activist. So thank you for being here. Now, Vijay Lakshmi, what do you really make of this whole thing? You know, the whole country somehow is debating about this now, about this documentary that has just come and gone, kind of. I don't think many people really had a chance to even view it, but everybody seems to have a viewpoint on it. So how would you see this?
I think one of the major reasons for the controversy has been its kind of exposure within the social media. And the social media highlighted mainly Mukesh's voice rather than the larger point that the film was trying to make.
Correct.
That is one point. The other point, of course, is that the Indian government banned it, which led to the furor that happened around it. So I think there are two issues here. One is the creative license of a filmmaker, no matter which country she belongs to make a film on women.
Right.
And that, I think, is a right that should have belonged to her. But the other thing is on the film. I have issues around that in the sense that whether it actually represented the voices of the women that she wanted to. Was it really a story of the genesis of the movement? And I think on that one can always, on that one can always have a debate. Personally, and also from a large group of young people who are seeing the movie, it is a mediocre film which is representing a particular voice, but I think we all have a right to see it and make our own opinions about it. I think that really in that sense. But when you're looking at the larger discourse around women's rights, I think I am not really interested in what Mukesh had to say. One is more interested in what the lawmakers have to say about it. What is it that we are going to do about women who are being raped on the streets every day? Jyoti Pandey is not the only case of rape. There's been horrific rapes after that. And also whether that is going to get the kind of attention that it deserves in terms of not just criminal justice, within the criminal justice system, but in terms of mobility, security of women, and not just about India's daughters, but if there could be constitutional guarantees for us, which is the right to life, the right to equality, the right to non-discrimination, I think we should have a debate around that, and we would have expected the government to do that, rather than just ban the film and silence a mediocre voice, if I may say so.
Right.
And I think that's important.
And in that manner, giving it a bigger voice.
Giving it far bigger voice.
That's right. So, Kiran, as an advocate, what is the legal standing as of now on this documentary?
Recently, a PIL has been also filed, removing the ban on the film.
Right.
Today, the High Court said nothing is urgent to be heard, so it's listed for tomorrow on Thursday. Government, without seeing the film or without looking into the details, should not have banned it. They should have gone into the details.
Right.
See whether it's really hurting the sentiments of the people. Because there are a number of films, there are other films also on rape. Not only this film is there, only the first one to go. And in Bollywood movies also we find something very heinous kind of crime being committed, and the voice, the kind of attitude of the men, the hypocrisy is there. But no one raises why in this. So without going into the details, without going into the legal point, the government should not have banned it lightly. Just banning won't solve a problem.
Right. So Dr. Deepika, what would you say? Was this really done in a haste, in a hurry?
Absolutely not, Lottie. See, the government is very serious when it says something, when it does something. I would say that the argument has got three dimensions to it. Number one is the socio-political dimension. Number two is the technical dimension, and number three is the what I call as the ethical moral dimension. Now, in very short, the ethical moral dimension of the thing was that probably when Leslie Woodwin gave the application, she said that it was for a social cause and a kind of a doing some work in psychological studies of criminals, and then she sold it to BBC and several other channels. This is the moral argument against, which is perhaps of a lesser nature, but yet it remains. Second of all is the technical argument that she did not go through the required process of the correct permission, because
but in an interview she said that she has taken all required permissions.
The previous Home Minister is denying that the permission was given, so the matter is sub judice, as told.
Right.
But the bigger issue now is this. I differ with Kiranji when she says that the government has not seen it, because the government would not do or say anything without seeing the documentary. You could view a situation as half full or as half empty. Important thing was this, that there were certain extremely objectionable statements made there. Lotty, if you remember that Nirbhaya case became an inflection point for gender history in India. The massive uproar, the rage, the Justice Verma committee that was set up, and the consequent changes in rape laws that have been, to a very large extent, they have served the cause of women.
So they came only after that case?
They came after that. Now the thing is this, that since that case was so sensitive, and in that particular documentary, I do not wish to repeat that what that depraved, craved, heinous driver spoke about the girl who almost gave her life for this kind of change to come in society. And what about the argument that suppose you show it brazenly on the TV channels, and over here there are certain people who are imbibing the message, especially of the other gender. Now, if Mukesh is blatantly saying something that she should have not have resisted and her life would have been saved, a very, very wrong message is getting conveyed to the populace. And I will tell you one thing, in India, the argument given कि internet पे तो दिखा दी गई, in India 80% of people still do not have access to internet. And second of all is, these kind of activities are equally prevalent in rural areas. Second of all is, apart from the Mukesh thing that was shown, there was another interview, another interview of a pedophile who had done wrong to a 5-year-old, and he was describing the process. So, important thing is this, that there was
there were objectionable things,
objectionable content in that, and it was not okay for the public viewing.
All right. Now, Kamlaji, what's your take on this?
First of all, freedom of expression is not a complete right. There can be times when the government or people feel that a particular thing should not be shown for whatever reasons. In this particular case, I really didn't think there was adequate reason, and I also did not like the main reasons given, that there is a conspiracy against India, that it is going to defame India. I mean, these were the two things which were played to us. Maybe there were other reasons. There was another opinion given by some of our women friends and feminists, who said that because the case is in the court, there could be a temporary restraint. Now, that is a totally different logic. And said that it might hamper the process of justice. So, that is a totally different take. But the take of the government seemed hasty. I have seen the film, and as my friend Vijay Lakshmi said, maybe it's not a great,
it is really a
maybe it's not a great film, but there was nothing in the film which I did not like. And if you look at the whole film and the duration given to the driver, the accused, but my God, the number of times the father speaks, and that father is an Indian man, and his love for his daughter, his respect for his daughter, the fact that that family, sold property to educate their daughter and not to marry her off, which many of our state governments and other governments say, save for your daughter's dowry. And then that incredible young tutor, incredibly sensitive, compassionate, and telling us about that woman. Then there is the IPS officer Amod Kant, another man. Then there is Leela Sethji in it. I mean, there are so many opinions of so many Indians, and they don't all speak like that. And I buy the story of the filmmaker that she came to India not because of the rape. She came to India because of the protests against the rape.
The
and I think she
really
is
took place.
honoring India.
True.
And of course, we need to show how the rapist thinks. Otherwise, day before yesterday, once again in Haryana, there is a rape. When did rape start? And India is shamed not by a film on rape. India is shamed by rapes, by gang rapes, by the constantly declining sex ratio, by the Khab panchayats passing things. That's what shames India. And my last point is that our Prime Minister now keeps talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If the whole Vasudhaiva is Kutumbakam, then somebody from England should be able to show us a mirror praising us for the protests which we did.
Exactly.
And she has said that rape is a global phenomena.
It is.
And the woman says she herself
has been raped.
was raped. I mean, what can be more than that?
Exactly. I think Vijay Lakshmi, there's a point here, because if you go by the interviews that Leslie has really given out, she says because the kind of protests, as she said, that really took place, the kind of mobilization, you know, on the roads. Now, this was something which is actually happening all over the world. But in a country like India, when people are almost up in arms against a gang rape, so which she said that I was saying the same thing, but I was not given an opportunity.
I think so. I mean, that's the point, that she did not get that opportunity. And I think also I agree with Kamaladi that we need to look now at issues about women from a global perspective.
Correct.
And we need to also join our voices in unison with the whole world to speak against, you know, inequality, against against discrimination, against violence. You cannot have one voice coming from a country. I mean, that is why the Nuremberg trials, that is why the ideas around international law and justice. If the Jews were being killed by the Nazis in Germany, you can't have the German actually tell you anything about what was happening there. So you are looking at genocide in India. I'm glad Kamaladi pointed that I think the largest shame for us rests within government documents. Take a look at the census. That is the most shameful document for us. We have the most, you know, our declining child sex ratio is 0 to 6 age group. Take a look at the National Crime Record Bureaus. Take a look at your Shram Shakti reports. Don't show us a film. Don't get so worried about the film.
That's right. So, Vijay, we'll have to slip into a break right now. But when we come back, we'll be taking this forward and we'll try and find out as to really can one little documentary shame a huge country like India, or are there other issues also that must be looked at? Well, time for us to slip into a break. When we come back, we'll take this forward. So don't go away, as we'll all see you on the other side. Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about the controversy that is around India's daughter. Well, Kiran, you just enlighten us a little here, because what is being said is this, that in case if this documentary would be shown, so this would go and hamper the legal process or the appealing process and what have you. Now, as a layman, one wouldn't really understand it. Layperson, one wouldn't really understand it. So, can you just explain this to us?
It's a wrong thing which is going on. Actually, the trial is over. The trial means where the evidence has to be considered, the statement of the accused has to be taken care of. Everything is over. Now the case is in appeal. In appeal, all this file has to be considered. Whatever fresh evidence is there, it's never considered. I don't think a documentary is going to influence judges.
Okay.
And that also of a senior level. So this thing that's going to hamper the judicial process is not true at all.
So, what would you say here, Dr. Deepika?
Lotty, I once again differ with Kiranji on this, because I do believe that law and legal processes, though I am not a lawyer, but I do believe that law and legal processes are not only in the letter of it. There's something called as the soul of a judgment also, and the soul of the judgment does get influenced, because at the end of the day, judges are still human beings. And if, you know, if I take if I become the devil's advocate and say, okay, you know, the judges are watching the documentary and they are saying, okay, the appeal against the hanging is pending, and they are saying, okay, this man is still not reformed. Though I would say the documentary was shot in 2013 and it was shown today in 2015, 2 years it has lapsed. So they could still feel that this man is beyond remorse, is hopelessly, he is a criminal man. So we can never say that the influence cannot be there. So in a way, talking legally also, I mean, if something is so sensitive and something is kind of the case is lying, you know, the appeal is lying in the courts and showing something, does prejudice a case?
Okay, that's what you feel.
Yeah.
All right.
Second of all, Lotty, ma'am just said, Kamala ji just said that Modi ji has said that this country is Vasudev Kutumbakam and everybody is invited. But I would like to ask a very, very pertinent question. And this argument also applies to cases like Madam Riya Pillai. That important thing is this, that governments are always there to govern. They have to consider the entire picture, the entire socio-political picture of a country. Freedom of speech is one aspect, it's an important aspect. But then activists and artists have the right to say that. But governments are there to govern, and they have to see the political and social sensitivity of a situation before taking a call.
All right, all right. Before you say she has a comment to make, I think very quickly.
Again, I am not agreeing with the legal perception given by my friend. No, the trial is over. The judges can't go beyond a point. They have to go through the evidence, and whatever medical evidence is there, whatever the statements are there, they can't have their own opinion and pass a judgment at the senior level. So that is my say, that everything is over. If it would have been a trial, that the statement is important, but the statement was to be considered. No, nothing has to be considered. Whatever is there in the file, on that basis the court has to pass its judgment.
Right. Yes, Kamala.
Well, I'm glad she brought up Priya Pillai's case. The Supreme Court has set aside the government's objection and has freed the woman. And there is a PIL now to lift the ban against the film, and we shall see tomorrow. I am just heard that it will be discussed tomorrow, so we shall see. But really, I think globally we need support from people who love justice, from people who are against rape. Now, for example, in Australia, one of our Indian women was shot. We want that civil society of Australia to support us. And in India, so many foreign women are also raped. So it's a global issue. And I really feel that India is not the only country where rapes take place.
Exactly.
Every country.
Absolutely.
I used to know statistics, I don't know whether it's the same. In New York City, every 6 minutes a woman was raped.
If
in
you go
India,
by the
at
UN
least
data, I just
22.
tell you, over 84,000 rape cases were reported in USA in 2012.
Absolutely.
This is a UN data.
So, and
So we are not the only country, of
in
course.
France, they said 75,000 per year. And if you calculate it, it's every couple of hours a rape in France. And look at their population and look at our population. So this is a global phenomena. Patriarchy is a global phenomena.
True.
Indian women's movement needs to be congratulated for its vibrancy. And this time, young men and other men need to be congratulated, because the protest against Nirbhaya was not just by women. So more and more men need to understand that they need to change their mindset and need to pressurize other men who have these tendencies to change their mindset. And I think the government and the courts need to do something more to really pass judgments a little faster. I mean, if every judgment
I think that
takes
is really
20
the need
years,
of the hour. True.
people really feel they can get away with it, and I think that needs to be done away with.
True. If I just share a little more data with you, rape cases in Brazil, now this is over 49,000 rape cases were registered in 2012. Now this is also UN data. And if we go, if we look at England and Wales, then it is more than 22,100 rape cases. So what are we really talking about here?
Absolutely.
So Bijaya, which actually, and if we go by the population that those countries have and the population that we have, so certainly it's not a case wherein India is just being defamed. If we are really, you know, we're all rising up in arms just because of that, I think now that is something that we'll have to outgrow. All right, now mindsets. Now Bijaya, as an activist and as a teacher, I'm sure, and we've been discussing this a lot many times in gender discourse as well. Now mindset is something that we all as a society have to fight for. What would you say?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that mindset is not just of of men.
Correct.
It's a mindset which is that of patriarchy. I think Kamladi put it very well, and we'll always learn from her. I think the larger issue about mindset, and it brings me back to the film, the things that Mukesh was saying, are the things that I hear every day, in every street corner. I don't, and if you're calling it depraved and debauched and crazy, I hear it from the mouths of politicians, I hear it from the mouths of fathers and brothers, I hear it from the voice of mothers also. So it is the mindset that is there all over. It's a mindset that we actually are very proud of. We call
and I think Kiran Kher, she said this even in the parliament, you know, she said this is the mindset of most of the men in this country. What do you do about that?
Yes, most of the men and some women too. I would not like to say it's only the men.
Right.
And I think I found it interesting that when I first saw the film, I was not, that is why it never really shocked me, the things that Mukesh was saying, because I hear it every day, and I hear it from different voices and from policy implementers. I hear it from the judges. I hear it from basically from women who are also teachers. It's not that, you know, they do not say these things. They do say these things. So I think the larger part about mindset that is that we imagine that the mindset is that of society, and the implementers are different from society. But the ideological consciousness of the state is not very different from that of the family. They are reflecting the same ideological consciousness there, and I think it's important for the state to realize that. And I would like to say that there can be no such distinction, that the state and the government is looking at the socio-cultural, you know, kind of scenario, and it's trying to bring about stability. I don't think democracy is about that. I think the larger issue about the state is that it has to see the civil society and activists and the NGOs as stakeholders in that particular collective consciousness. If they don't do that and they see it as separate, I think that is where the problem actually begins, and that is where the mindset is never going to change.
Yes. Well, before I get Dr. Deepika's view on this, Kiran, I would want you to come in here. Now, she said something pertinent that we have to really work towards, like fast track courts is something that we've been talking about. But as she said, most people think that we are going to get away with whatever crimes we commit, we are going to get away because so and so got away. So I think that is somewhere some judicial reforms or some, you know.
Yes, I want to share a very old case. Which will help you to understand how Nirbhaya case brought a change and how that case has brought a change. That case was in late 80s, Mathura rape case, where the first time police custody was not considered rape. Even the highest court of India said no, it's not a rape. And all the women activists, they were together and the law was changed. Police custody later on, if there is a sexual thing in the police station, it amounts to rape. That change came. Same thing applies to here also. The changes has to come. When there was police custody was not, the sexual harassment or a rape in police station was not considered to be a rape or a sexual advancement. Today it's considered to be the rape. Same Nirbhaya case came. So many joined hand together, the law was changed. Yes, the attitude of judges got to be changed. Only by changing law, adding some more section, won't make that much of difference. Till the time the judges sitting there should change their mindset also. Recently I was reading a judgment where the police people were pulled up only because they registered a case against the accused regarding a minor child. That is not that does not give a direct good message to the society. What we are talking about here.
Now you said, you know, judges probably need a change in the mindset. Now this is what probably Deepika meant when she said that if these kind of if you know the kind of comments that Mukesh has really made, and because these people are also human beings from the same society, so then couldn't they really be influenced? I think that was her point.
No, because that's a different. I am talking about the judges settlement, which means the trial court, where the trial is going on.
May not be this case, but even in generally.
Generally, that trial court judges got to change their view. If a woman is making a statement, they should not think, ये तो ऐसी ही होगी.
Correct.
Yeah, if a woman is of some other strata, they will think, इसकी तो इस तरह बोल रही, इस तरह कपड़े पहन कर आई है, तो ऐसी ही होगी. But this attitude कि हो सकता है इसी ने करा हो, इसी ने आगे कुछ करा हो, and not giving her due respect in the court and listening her properly whatever she is saying. This attitude has to be changed. To listen to her demand of getting re-examined, or listen to her demand, look, I need a police protection, I am being threatened. This all attitude got to be changed in rape cases. This is the mindset where at the trial, because India is a very vast country, different districts are there where the trial is conducted, whether the proper protection is given to the victim or not, or whether the judges are sensitive to that issue. Yes,
that's right. That's
because India doesn't consist of Delhi and only one Nirbhaya case. There are so many cases, so many much more heinous than Nirbhaya.
Probably which all of them really don't find prominence in the media.
Prominence in the media.
Well, Kiran, we'll have to slip into a break right now. So, folks, we are coming back very quickly. Today, we are talking about the controversy that's surrounding India's Daughter, that the film, now the controversy that is around it. So, we are talking about that. We'll be back in a moment, so you don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about the documentary India's Daughter, because there's a huge controversy that is still surrounding it. So, Dr. Deepika, now what is your take on this? She says that even the judiciary, the judges, they probably need to change their mindsets. Now, how is that change really going to come about?
See, Lotty, change in a society, whether it is in India or any other country, is change has always been a slow grinding process. The history has been a witness to it. And there was a time when sati was accepted and sati was the norm, and today nobody can think about it. Similarly, she gave a case of Mathura rape case of 1980, and today the so-called rise in rape cases is nothing but the coming forward of women, you know, and reporting the cases, reporting the violence against them. The sense of shame that was attached to rape, you know, that I have been violated and it's bad, and somewhere I would have done something to invite it. That thing, that mindset, I'm so happy that women are getting over that. They are having the courage to walk over to the police station and say that, you know, this wrong has been done to me.
Correct.
Second of all, the steps taken by the government themselves, you know, like installing women officers in police station, creating one-stop crisis centers, the Justice Verma committee recommendation implementation, the change in laws itself, the way society views, the way you know, a family views or a neighborhood views a rape victim. So today the winds of the change are definitely blowing. There is absolutely no doubt about it, but yet a lot has to be done, because as she rightly put it, that India is certainly not Delhi or Bangalore or Chennai, and 80% of India almost is rural. The patriarchal mindset is there. I think women's emancipation, women's education, you know, as the PM rightly put it, you know, one of the pertinent factors, making schools for girls and ensuring that at least the toilet facilities are there under Swachh Bharat, so that the girls are incentivized to go, they are safe. And I'll tell you one thing, sexual violence is one thing, though you know, going a little away from the topic, giving hygienic sanitary conditions to women, you know, toilets is important, because more than 50% of the sexual violence violence takes place when they go out to relieve themselves.
Correct.
So there are many things that have to be done, but I genuinely believe that the PM's initiative, last month he launched that scheme, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao Andolan, then on the ramparts of Red Fort, he's telling the country, and especially he's telling the parents that ask your boys.
Don't just question your girls.
Don't just question your boys. Correct. Question your boys where they're going. Because at the end of the day, Lotty, the family is the building unit of society. The mind develops from there. So the first teachers become the parents, and the way the parents will treat the children, and then the second grade becomes the school. So here. But very important question, the challenge that lies before us is this, that who is going to teach the teachers, at the end of the day. And third of all is this, the role of law and the role of strict governance, zero tolerance policy towards violence against women. So I think all these factors, the media plays a very important role. The very fact that you being a Lok Sabha TV channel and you are questioning the ban on the documentary itself, the media has come on its own, and it's commendable. So I think the role of press, media, journalists, the civil society movements, I think they are all moving towards, there will certainly probably 10 years down the line, Lotty, when we'll all be sitting and we would be saying that yes, India has changed for better, and India has become a better place for its women.
Well, so those are very strong statements. So Kamlaji, what do you want to say?
I really
here?
wish we were getting there, because as we've been saying, we are killing more and more daughters in this country in spite of all these wonderful things which are happening.
True.
And that's what shows things. And unfortunately, or it's not just rural India which is patriarchal. Mr. R.K. Pachauri has left the rural area for a long time. He has been accused. And there are so many people in powerful positions who are accused, and the people in the US and the head of the IMF from France, not rural at all. So this is a phenomena, and I think we as people, we as society have to reject. And we don't only have to reject rape, we have to reject all this capitalist patriarchy, which I keep repeating. We have to reject pornography, which is violent and which really turns a woman into an object. We have to reject advertisements which defame both women and men. We have to reject masculine names of, for example, IPL teams, Delhi Daredevils. I think men have to realize that by being tuskers and daredevils and warriors, they are demeaning themselves, they are dehumanizing themselves. And we need to reject films which make 1 crore by showing these item numbers. And we have to reject these songs which play in our weddings and where 4-year-old daughters are dancing on them. We as society have to reject this rape mindset, this mindset, and men have to come forward. Women are changing, all of us are saying the time has come to men, and fortunately there are very good steps. Recently I was looking at a video made by men that they apologize to the women of India for what other men are doing. And I think more and more men and boys need to do that. In our recent campaign, 1 billion rising, we have involved children in this, because children are also suffering under this whole thing. And I think more and more schools and colleges, and Vijay Lakshmi's entire effort in Miranda College and in Delhi University, these things. And I am happy to see that all these campaigns are perhaps bigger in the rural areas, where so many NGOs are working, where these millions of women who have come into local government bodies, etc., where they are there. And I think we need to function at all these levels and need to prove to the world that the Constitution of India, which says men and women are equal, those words mean anything in India. Otherwise, as an Indian woman, if we can't even walk in our own mohalla, so what is this independence about?
That's right. Now, Bijay Lakshmi, I think she raised a very important point here, because these days, you know, I mean, people, especially the youngsters, they are bombarded with sexual innuendos from every which way, whether they are magazines, they are advertisements, they are films and what have you. And after that, we expect them to have a certain behavior, whereas they do not know which is the right manner. So I think, as you also rightly said, that this approach has to be really holistic. There's a very long road ahead of us.
Yeah, I think what we really need to do is to engage with the education system.
Right.
One, of course, like Kamladi said, we need to look at what is out there and what is there, which tends to objectify and commodify women, not just pornography.
Right.
Even the television serials with the bohus and the saas and the rest of it is equally commodifying and equally objectifying and treating women as subjects. I think almost everything that is out there in the media is not empowering for women. It is not emancipatory for women, and there are no lessons for men. That is why we have people like Kamladi and others to come and speak to the young people, because there are no other role models. If you open a newspaper, you do see the page 3 people as role models. Who do you think those young people are going to associate themselves with? Who do you think they are going to see as role models and going to look up to? So we think there is a need to engage with role models and to look at the education system and to mainstream gender sensitization into it. Gender sensitization as such, or even awareness around any sensitive issues, exists somewhere as maybe a one-day program, maybe a 2-day program. There is no larger acceptance within the education system, within the government system for mainstreaming it, for really seeing it as the core issue in India. It is the core issue in India. Even in the Mussoorie Academy, is it a training that is there in almost all the fields? They are doing it now, but the larger part of it, is it something that they are tested on? If you take a look at medical curriculum, ideas around the body are all clinical. There is no discussion about the body being a human. Right. So also for politicians, for them to associate with the larger issues of human beings through sensitivity. The judges are also part of society, so they come from there. So I think that larger engagement with sensitivity, with gender sensitization, with a rights-based approach does not exist. Our constitution is a beautiful document, but it exists only in rhetoric.
What it remains.
It is a rhetorical one, and we do not engage with it in reality. And there is no discourse, public discourse around it within the media, within the political world. I think there is a need for larger public discourse, not just Swachh Bharat, not that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, but a larger understanding of women as individuals,
all that is commendable,
as persons.
Yes.
As autonomous beings. I don't hear that much. We still situate women within the family. So I think the idea of them as persons.
Yes, Dr. Deepika, so what would you say? Is there a stand of the government, you know, really looking down at the curriculum and pushing these things at the lowest level, you know, even the pre-primary class children, that they would know that what is gender bias? You know, so is there anything that is being done?
See, Lotty, important thing is this, that the signals or the leadership, I have always believed, starts at the top level. You cannot expect the man below to understand if the right signals are not coming from top above. Now, if the PM is always making it a point to mention it, whether it is from the ramparts of the Red Fort or whether giving special incentives for the girl child or the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao movement or the Swachh Bharat, linking it to the women's safety and education and mental health, the whole issue of morality and the whole issue of government, as Kamlaji said, that these pornography needs to be banned. The film, the film item numbers have to be deleted from the movies and so and so. But important thing is this, that Lotty, here the bigger question, or I would say a dilemma for every ruling government has always been this, that damned if you do it and damned if you do not, because the moment we would say item numbers are not allowed, the moment we would say that Saas Bahu serials are not allowed on general entertainment channels, then suddenly
creative freedom is curtailed.
Creative movement is this thing, and this government is a government of bans.
Well, you have a point there, Deepika. Well, let's just go into the last break of the program, but when we come back, we'll be taking this from here. as to what Deepika was just saying. So don't go away, as we'll all see you on the other side. Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about India's Daughter, the documentary and the controversy that it is surrounded by. Well, so Dr. Deepika was saying that with the governments, it is that if they ban something, I mean, they could be damned if they do, and they could be damned if they do not. So I would let you complete it, Deepika.
Yeah, Lotty, basically I was saying this, that social activists and creative people and artists, they have all the right to put in their point of view and to what I say, vouch for creative freedom, you know. But I would like to still add that along with freedom does come a certain restraint and a responsibility and a understanding of the roots of the society in which you are living, the sensitivities of the society, the educational level of a society, and you know, containing India is a diverse country, not only in terms of a rural-urban divide, in terms of the religious divide, in terms of economic divide. So I'm at the end of the day, most important thing I think if the governments can do for women, and our government is definitely committed to it, is this, that emancipation of women, education of women, economic empowerment of women, giving legitimacy to their status as equal partners in the economic, cultural, social progress of India. So, and the government is completely committed to it. In fact, the government is giving a lot of attention to the girl child, the education of the girl child, and this particular debate, discussion, and the movement to ban the Nirbhaya documentary was certainly in that line, seeing the sensitivity of the entire issue. And second of all, Lotty, this question, though it could be debated, discussed, but it still remains that governments have to remain sensitive to the image of India that is being projected outside. It is so easy when you are outside the frame of governance to say and do anything, but the moment you sit on the chair, the responsibility does
But don't
come.
you think, Deepika, that this has actually gotten more attention,
No,
undue
it is.
attention?
I would like to ask, Madam Leslie Udwin, that there, as Kamlaji said, and as you put the UN statistics, there are so many rapes that happen in America, and in Brazil, every 6 minutes some rape is happening. In the place that she is coming from, I think she is coming from London.
Yes,
I would have appreciated that she should have thrown a magnified mirror to her own country or to the
But you know what,
Western
Deepika, let
world.
me tell you,
And
if you
but
just go,
the-
there
the-
are a number of documentaries that the UK
Lotty,
has done
Lotty,
on their rape
Lotty,
cases.
I am not criticizing them, but definitely Vasudev Kutumbakam में तो IS भी आता है ना, उनको भी बुला लें. Important thing is this, Lotty, this could be further discussed. This is not the finality of this thing, but this point has to be understood by everybody, that there is a certain kind of obsession with India. There is an obsession with India. And because I'll tell you one thing, and it's a very, very genuine economic argument that I'm giving. India is a very, very important emerging economic market.
All right, so let's have Kamlaji comment on
I
it.
mean,
Yes,
this
Kamlaji.
kind of xenophobia,
No,
this
absolutely,
kind
ma'am,
of
there's no
this
xenophobia.
kind of
No, ma'am,
love for
absolutely not.
India.
Okay.
I love.
Deepika, just give her a
my
minute.
chance
Give her a
to
minute.
speak,
Yes.
Deepika, please.
Yes,
Thank you
Kamlaji,
very
please,
much.
Please.
Thank you very much. I really feel this kind of attitude is uncalled for. On the one hand, this government is inviting the whole world, come make in India. But don't talk about the problems here. Come and make in India. He is more outside the country than he is inside the country. So let me finish, please, Deepika. I didn't. So I think the more, I mean, I wish many more Indians will make films about the rapes here. And
Lottie,
I
would like
think,
to rebut it.
can I
Just a
please finish?
Ma'am, please.
Just a
Or
moment, just
you-
we are in the last leg of the program. Yes.
And I really think that this attitude, India is the greatest, and it's a conspiracy against India. I mean, a tiny little film has been made, which would have been shown much later. Because of the ban, it was advanced and shown much more. And I think half the world wouldn't have seen it if it was not for that uncalled for ban.
Okay,
And may I please
okay,
finish?
okay.
Ma'am, the program will finish. I
Yes,
want to
but
rebut
aap
you
to
on,
bol chuke hain,
no,
wo
I wish to
bolna hai.
rebut you on something very, very important. And this is relating to the nation. You have brought in Make in India in this. Make in India is a very, very important economic project of
Absolutely,
India.
but global.
You know one
Global.
thing, that there are 10 crore unemployed people added to the
But
Indian
what has it
economy
got to do with this
every day,
issue?
Exactly. So-
every year. First of all, and second of all, to include Make in India in this, that come and make rape documentaries India, is completely
I did not
unacceptable.
say
Because
that. I don't
think
you
that's
cannot
what I-
undermine the concept
Yeah,
of
come
Make
on,
in India
please
to
stop
come and
this.
make
I don't think that's really related, Kamlaji. Make in India,
She
yes.
said as
What?
much.
No.
Yes,
I
yes.
said.
As much.
I said. On
Important
the
thing.
one hand,
No.
no. Listen.
Ma'am,
Please
because
do
you
not
have to-
misinterpret me. Please listen.
Because you
What-
brought in Make in
No,
India.
I brought
One
it.
second,
I
one
said
second, one
on
second.
the one hand,
When
we
we are
want
so
to go
progressive.
global. We want to go global, and we want the whole world to be here. We are going out every day to the world. Then obviously the world will also look at our problems. And so if you want to make Vasudeva Kutumbakam, then they will look at our problems and they will come and make in India. But you can't have it one way.
It is
That
in
only
their interest to
appreciate
come in.
us.
It is
Only
their
All
economic
right,
interest
all
to
right.
come in
Now,
India,
now
ma'am.
Vijay Lakshmi, now what do you think should be the road ahead here? Now, it's final comments, just time for final
I
comments.
think the larger question here is what is shaming us? What is shaming us is not the lens from outside.
Right.
What is shaming us is what is happening to our children,
women.
our women here. Forget about our children, forget about our daughters. What is happening to us here? And I think that's the place where the government should actually train its eyes on. It should not be really bothered about what the world thinks of us. If India is being thought about as a rape capital, it is also being thought about as a place where they're going to make great economic investments.
Correct.
It's a great country. There are many ways that India is looked at. It's always been looked at like that. It has nothing to do with the present government. India has always been, it has always been a country, right from the time of Nehru when non-alignment was there, India has always been a leader in actually leading us to a kind of a different, unique status in the world. We have to respect India for that. We have no problems. We are Indians and we are very proud of it. All of us are. We don't need a government to tell us that. We don't need a leader to tell us that. But I think the most important thing about equality and non-discrimination is that the state must put its mouth where these words are. It has to really tell us what is it meaning by equality. And when you talk about the marginalized, you don't talk just about women. You talk about the poor, you talk about the minority, you talk about the tribals, you talk about all the marginalized and tell us that you have zero tolerance for all of that. Then we listen. We cannot listen to this one-sided story that we are only worried about our women, but we don't care about anything else. I think somewhere that voice hasn't reached us. And somewhere that is the political, dissonance right now in India. And I think when you talk about the marginalized, you need to talk about all of them.
I
and
think
that
that's what she
voice
said
needs to be
somewhere in the
carried out.
program.
And I
She
think,
did say that.
and it's not about strict governance.
Zero tolerance and all.
Zero
everything, I think
tolerance
Deepika
and
has
not
mentioned.
strict governance, but democratic governance and zero tolerance to all forms of marginalization, all forms of violence. What happened in Nagaland was also terrible. What happens to the Muslim minority women is also terrible. What is happening to Christian women is also terrible. We want to hear that. We are looking forward to that voice. And once we hear it, I don't think there is any dissonance between the civil society and the political system.
Right. Okay. Now, Kiran, we'll just coming back to what we were really discussing. Now, you were mentioning somewhere that, it's very easy to form laws and everything. But then again, there's a voice that would come that, okay, now these are misused. Now, I think this happens for every law that is there.
Yes,
in the
is happening for Section 498A of IPC
Exactly.
also.
Yeah.
They are saying make it more diluted because there's some misuse of
498A.
Yes. Because people fail to understand that how much population is still there in the rural areas. How many women can really come and take the benefit of that law. Same thing applies to the rape laws also. Because I have heard somewhere some voices among the men. Look, the misuse of law, how stringent the laws are. It should be changed. It's pro women. It's not pro men. These things should not be there, because every law requires changes. Every law is sometimes misused also. If 2% is misusing it, 98% is using it. They are beneficiary of that law. Then law should not be changed, and it should be strictly followed. The mindset of the final thing is the mindset of the judges should be changed, and the implementing authority, which is police. Police should be also sensitive towards the issues and towards the women. So just banning a issue and taking away ourselves from that issue won't solve the problem.
That's right. So maybe we have to just probably, even now it's time for us to go above party lines and actually think of the safety of the women. Finally, 2 sentences, Deepika, I'll give you. You agree with that or no?
See, Lottie, because I am a BJP representative, I would like to say that our government is completely committed to the education, emancipation of women, safety of women, and the government has taken very, very tangible steps in the last few months, and our Prime Minister is completely committed to the concept. The government is completely committed to the concept, and most importantly, what I would like to tell the entire country is this, that patriarchy, the mindset needs to be changed, and for that the leadership has to give the right signals, which it is giving. But I would do the appeal to the other political parties also, that they should join in the campaign, because once it starts from the top, then only it would percolate to the ground. And second of all, the basic building unit of the society, it is the family. So it is the parents who have to be gender sensitive to the people, and of course the police and the judicial system.
True. So holistically, I think everybody has to pitch in there. Well, so on that note, I'd like to say thank you to 4 of you for coming today and for debating this issue. Thank you so much. Well, friends, rapes are the kind of gore that not only shatters a woman's body, but her spirit as well. This is a crime that takes place the world over by perverts. The perpetrators must be tackled with an iron hand, and such fear must be instilled in the minds of men that they may think 100 times and more before even contemplating a crime like this. Moreover, the way we raise boys, especially in India, needs a thorough reassessment. Respecting girls has to begin from home. Enough talks have been held. Now you need to take action. Unless the society starts respecting its women, nothing is going to change. You cannot ignore half the population of the world, for heaven's sake. Women are not going to beg anymore. We are going to demand equality. So on that note, it's a wrap. Do join me next week for another meaningful debate on another gender issue. Till then, this is Lotty Alaric saying goodbye and take very good care of yourselves.